Yeah.
Boy, you know.
Well, you know, Chicago raised me, man. I became a well, Mississippi raised me. I became a man in Chicago because you know that's gonna make you a man. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Damn, my mom from Chicago herself. I say she
Yes,
moved to
sir.
Arkansas. She was 10, so
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
good. Well, like I say, definitely on Malcolm working with music exclusives, and it's an honor. I have here with me the veteran producer, songwriter, and artist, Mechalie Jamison. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored, man. You know what I'm saying? Very happy, very humbled, man. You know what I'm saying? And thanks for your inviting me on your platform.
Absolutely. So we're here, let's say second half of 2025, and congratulations again for a short but sweet, EP, Stepping Out. So just want to know a little bit about you, your process, and what got you to this point as far as want to deliver as far as the music as an artist compared to being a songwriter. So first I'm gonna start off with tell me where you from and when did you get your first taste of music?
Man, actually, I was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Um, and then I ended up moving to Roxbury. You know, the project, same home, a new edition. You know, although I didn't know them, you know what I'm saying? I heard Candy Girl way before we hit Mississippi, though, you know what I'm saying? Because I moved to Mississippi the next year, you know what I'm saying? So I was actually, um, we actually moved to Mississippi when I between 9 and 10.
Out of 10. So who were some of your early inspirations, music influences, role models?
Man, you know, it's so many, but if I have to be specific of me growing up in the church, because my mother was a pastor. My mother was an evangelist and my uncle was a pastor. You know, this just come from a long line of ministers. We couldn't listen to secular music, so my heroes was like Andre Crouch, Rand Silent, Commission Winans, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Before, you know what I'm saying, like I could, but on the secular side, you know, I'm kind of a, if you can hear how I sing, I'm kind of a dusty type guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah. So as far as like when did you feel like was the first time you pick up music and as far as was it the instruments or the words, what came to you first?
man, I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you. The first song I ever heard that moved me, and I had to be about 5 or 6 years old. My mom had a radio, and right in like right over the stove, right over the kitchen sink. You know what I'm saying? When she cooking. And man, the first song that ever moved me was Debbie Boone, "You Light Up My Life." I didn't know what that meant, you know what I'm saying? But I was just wondering what was inside the radio and why did the words move me? Not knowing about writing or anything like that, but that's something that stuck in my because I'm an emotional writer, you know what I'm saying? If you look at and go back to any of the songs that I've written when I was writing for Mary or Faith or anybody like that, or Tony or anybody, Tony Braxton, whatever. I'm always, you know, writing from an emotional side. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just always stuck with me. You know what I'm saying? From my earlier years of just even hearing that record, not even knowing I was gonna write in the future.
Yeah. So what you feel like when it comes to music, like explain music in your words. Do you feel like it's more of the emotions or is it like, a God saying voice coming to you? Like, as they say, it's a lot of like chords and scales, but like, what do you feel like the status of music is from the person who's creating the music to the person who's listening to the music?
Man, I mean, it can be from um somebody playing keys or just what I'm saying, if somebody got a track that got feel to it, it strikes the emotion in me, you know what I'm saying? So, or you know what I'm saying, or a melody could come to my head without music at all. Like because I didn't come up in the studio, I came up just writing songs first. So a bunch of songs I can have a bunch of songs before I even got to the studio. I had a bunch of songs written, but it's easy to come up with songs before tracks because I can write songs and I can write a song without no music, and we can build around the songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So do you, like I
We can
say,
build.
when it comes to them songs, like what puts the emotion to the song? Like what makes a hit song to you?
What makes a hit song to me? Man, I mean, a hit song to me is simplicity, um, great melodic simplicity lyrics. Like I'm not a like if you hear some of my songs that I wrote, they all simple. They all simple. Like um, one of my biggest records is with Faith Evans. And if you listen to that, it's I love you. It's just simple. I love you. I want you. Just simple words, simple melodies that, strikes a chord. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always like compared like Whitney Houston's Good Love. When you hear Good Love, it strikes a chord with you. If you in love at the time, that's something that whoever wrote that record, if were in love with anybody, you know what I'm saying? If you hear that record, it strikes a chord. So I've always been moved by, you know, anything that has that kind of loving emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Like what do you feel like some of the biggest lessons you learned working with these songwriters from, like say, Mary J. Blige compared to Faith Evans and a John B? Like working with them, what do you feel like was like, I guess, the different styles when it comes to working with these artists and evolving their sound?
Um, well, like, it's like cars. Some you got old school, some you got fat Ferraris, you got different kind of, different kind of vocalists get different kind of talents, you know what I'm saying? It depends on who you're working with. You know, um, like when you're working with Carl Thomas, you know what I'm saying? He has that like although he's, you know, you know, a R&B singer, you can almost place him in the way his cadence is. You can almost, look at his voice like a black Frank Sinatra, like because he slides. Him and John Legend. You can hear type of those artists that have influences way beyond just urban music. You know what I'm saying? you know. So I'm just a chameleon when it comes to that. I can just feel people and feel their energy, and I have a great etiquette in the studio. I don't just get in and start writing with A-list artists like that. I just be like, I want to know their story. I want to know, what I'm saying. Because some of them they write too. So we just all get comfortable with each other, and I just try to identify with who they are, from a personal standpoint, and then, once I and I can even have a whole song written and I'll be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So you have anything for the second verse? Just out of just knowing that I'm in the studio with icons, you know what I'm saying? Because they was all before me, you know what I'm saying? So man, I mean, I'll walk up down the street of Chicago with a pen and a pad, writing for Faith, or writing for Mary, like like I know them personally, and it's just I manifested and it just happened. I would use lyrics from 6 years before I met them, and saying when I get with them, I got something for them.
Yeah,
So
I did that though. So let's say you know that there was a rule, that 10,000 hour rule, like it takes you 10,000 hours to master your craft. Like, what did you feel like it took you to get to that point when you start coming up with these breakthroughs and, like say, putting these great songs together, and then also to actually put into your own work and your own art?
um, you talking about actually mastering the art of songwriting?
Right, and then I guess evolving into writing for someone compared to writing for yourself. Like, what do you feel like them transitions, just the lessons you had to learn?
Man, I just like me coming from Mississippi and moving to Chicago and the ghetto. It was survival, man. I had to write my way up out the ghetto, man. So I wasn't nobody. It wasn't like a studio around me. Then nobody just said, "Hey, come in the studio. Let's write. Let's do this. Let's do that." So I just would have to write, write, and write. You know what I'm saying? And by the time anything, you know the term, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Right.
It was one of them type of things because I was just write every day, and I go out on the block, and people would just start singing my records. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people would start singing my songs because they'll be like, Kelly, hit that this song, and hit that song. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So I kind of mastered my songwriting in the streets. That's how I mastered my songwriting in the streets of Chicago on the West Side. And then it was this group called You Mine that was signed to Luke Records. They was real popular, you know, on they was on the circuit with Luke Records with H Town and all of them. So um, this guy named June Tate had a record company called um, Fat House. So he had this group, and I was like, man, I want to get in that group. And it just so happened I got one of the group members. I was very persistent on making it. When I came up here from Mississippi, this was my Hollywood. I'm trying to make it in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So between R. Kelly and between You Mine, I was like, man, I gotta get up with either one of them. I'm looking for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing them on TV. And that's the reason why I was in Chicago anyway. And I just so happened to meet Marcus of You Mine, and he introduced me to my partner, who I have a company with now, Music Soul. Right now, we were all in a group together, so we all go way back. But now they really like when I met them, man. They was already songwriters and what I'm saying, dancers and this, that, and the other. So now I really kind of like start watching them, write songs and play keyboards and stuff like that. And once I got in that group, I was like, oh, okay. I know I can do this now. You know what I'm saying? And then I started excelling from there. You know what I'm saying?
So, what do you feel like your biggest memory was being in these rooms, as far as that you can remember?
Oh man. Okay, my most fondest memory was this one of them. But I can remember Puff or Diddy, you know. I did a publishing deal with him, but I can remember him and Mary J. Blige reuniting for the Love and Life album. And man, I was in Atlanta at the time, and I was already signed to Puff from a publishing standpoint. You know what I'm saying? And I was one of the hitman writers and producers on at the time. But I don't know if you're familiar with Kenny Green of Intro. He was trying to make a What's the 411 album like that. So he told Mary about me. I'm in Atlanta, and he was like, um, I got somebody that will remind you of Kenny Green. So Puff flew me from Atlanta, and he Puff met me downstairs. He met me downstairs, and at the studio. And he was kind of nervous, like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, hey, man, I got Mary upstairs. We just reuniting, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay. So I don't know, man. He seemed kind of like nervous to bring me in there, but he knew it wasn't no better writer than to write to Mary than me. But unbeknownst to him, man, I was waiting for this moment all my life because I've been writing for Mary 6 years ago when I didn't know none of them. I just knew I could. I just knew that was the time. So, I mean, he brings me in the studio, and there she is. She's sitting in the studio, and she kind of got her back turned a little bit, and I'm like, okay, Puff said, okay, hey, this is one of my best writers over here, and saying, You trust me, he's not going to be a problem. He's dope. He's just like Kenny. La 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 la. And Mary just giving me the poker face. You know what I'm saying? That's the queen, right? I'm like, okay. Puff Puff put the tracks on. Called me out the studio. Like, hey man, make this happen. I'm finna go to Morocco. I'm gonna leave 2 tracks up. And so, man, I get back in the studio. He got the Nas One Love beat up. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Mary, she kind of bobbing to it a little bit. And I'm saying, like, okay, how am I gonna how am I gonna approach this? Cause she's not smiling or nothing like that. She's just bobbing her head. And I mean, that's a very beautiful woman, but she's very intimidating. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? If she don't know you and she just getting to meet you, she just, I mean, that's the queen, you know what I mean? So man, we bobbing our head to the song, so I just reached into my Rolodex, and I was like, I got the perfect melody for this beat that I wrote, that I had wrote 6 years before that, and I was like, this is actually the melody I said I was gonna sing to her if I ever met her, and I hit her with the first verse. Now I had the second verse too, but it's always etiquette when you in front of people like that, A-list artists. I'm like, okay, so I said, what you got next? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Now I broke the ice. So now we bouncing off each other. So for every word she throw out, I'm already knowing. So she following my melody, so I'm throwing her melodies back. So now because I like working with people. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like some people want to be the biggest this, the biggest that. I was just honored to be in the studio with her, and that one song turned into me writing almost the entire album and producing 2 records on her.
All of the confidence and like you said, just patience, just
Yeah,
understanding how to work with people and just
yeah.
understanding people.
That's very important, man, knowing how to work with people. It's etiquette more than anything. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because some people think like you got to respect what came before you and they allowing you in their space. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on that. So, if you think you know it all, if you think it's a way you deal with people of that stature. With Faith Evans, the same thing. It's almost. I worked with Faith before I worked with Mary. Like it's funny our combination. Like Faith Evans is the most. That's my sister. Like she has the most beautiful soul you would ever imagine. Like without whether if she was doing music or not, she's a sweet person. You know, but working with her was tripped out too because and I hope I'm not being long with it. Am I being
I
long
know,
with it?
keep
Do you
rolling.
have
You
any?
good. No, keep it rolling. You good?
Okay,
Uh,
okay, okay. So working with her, like I have the melodies of her, but I'm imperfect like Mary. So in between both of them, it's like, you know, I have a mixture of both. So how I end up working with Mary was, I mean, what with Faith was, um, this was around the time, um, the J Lo, Shine, and Puff incident at the club. Now Puff had signed me and everything like that, but right around that time is when he got in all that trouble, right?
right.
So, um, Faith husband at the time, Todd Russo, a friend of mine, um, he was like, "Yo, Puff was in." So Puff was going through something, but he said, "Hey, look, man, he was managing Faith, so he's like, look, I'm gonna fly you from New York to L.A. You know what I mean?" And I don't know, Puff really, he controlled he was control he controlled his empire like for real, like Lucius on Empire for real. Like, so he know everything that's going on. He know ain't nothing you getting past him. But Todd was like, I'm gonna fly you out to LA. And he flew me out to LA to work with Faith directly. This wasn't from Puff. Like, you know what I'm saying? He flew me from New York to get with his wife at the time to work with her directly. Man, I walk in the studio, she got the beat up, doom, 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 you gets no love. She already had the hook laid, you gets no love from Battle Cat, right? And man, she's like, I'm stuck on the verses. That's when I came with the verses. I came with the verses. She came with, and then she came with the, with the um, how she's one of the most underrated arrangers I've ever heard in my life. And so that ended up with me writing pretty much a lot of that album too. And I wrote "I Love You" based off a CD that Puff had on his desk from Buck Wild. Like when I got back to New York, her single. So Puff didn't know I was in L.A. working with Faith. So by the time we get back to New York, it's another CD with Buck Wild on it. Me, John Monopoly go back to the hotel, and man, I wrote "I Love You" in 10 minutes, man.
That's
I wrote "I Love You" in 10 minutes, not even knowing. Puff didn't give me the beat. The beat was sitting on this guy named Conrad desk with Buck Wild on it. So Buck Wild, the one who did that beat, I took the beat back home. Back, me and John Monopoly was managing me at the time. I took the beat back. I took the beat back home with me, and I wrote "I Love You," man, 10 minutes flat. And Puff was like, called me to the studio. J Lo sitting right there, and he was like, "Yo, you got any songs for me? This is me, fresh, new, signed to him. I sing "I Love You." And he was like, I love it. I sang this to J Lo. This is supposed to be J Lo's record. This is supposed to be J Lo's song. So that's why if you look on the credits, it got J Lo on there because she wanted to switch a few things around. But when her and Puff fell out, the song went to Faith instead of being on J Lo. Although I wrote two or three songs on J Lo's album too. So that's pretty much how I end up writing, what I'm saying, along with Faith and Mary with their projects. Pretty much the Love and Life album, the Faithfully album, we kind of, all wrote together. You know what I mean?
so. So now you say right now you working as yourself from being a songwriter now to you actually being an artist, putting your own work out. Congratulations again on the release of your EP, Stepping Out.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
what do you feel like got you to this moment, and what was the inspiration behind the music? You actually end up collabing with your longtime collaborators, Earl Powell and Tony Red. So just let me know as far as like how that even come together and what made y'all want to put out this project.
Well, you know what, man? God work in mysterious ways because even, you know, even when my first record deal when I had with Priority didn't work out, I felt like I felt like that something was missing. You know what I'm saying? All of this time I done put in, and I never got a record out. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I never had my chance. But it started for me working with Tony Red again because Tony was gonna try to bring back out You Mine, and so I just started writing those records for You Mine, and um, man. He was like, hey man, just told me like, hey man, you should do this, man. Like, like you, man, I've watched you, what I'm saying, from back in the day, go from being in the group to making it all the way to the top when we didn't. You know what I'm saying? We didn't put the energy that you put into it, which was inspiring. So he was like, man, you need to go on and put this, you need to do the record on you, which I was like, okay, well, you know, let's try to get at it. You know what I'm saying? And by me and Earl having a long lasting relationship. Like he said, like, like me and Earl been knowing each other since 19, 20 years old. We was already writing together as well. So when when I called Earl, I told Earl to start sending me some music because I've always Earl is extremely talented, man. Always have been. Like, what I'm saying, like, if I had to compare him as a producer, it would probably be like, if I had to put it into baseball, I could say he play all positions in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I always have been like that. So I was like, and I always wanted to work with him, you know, um, and collab with him. So this was the perfect time. So it's us three getting back together, what I'm saying, and joining forces, what I'm saying, with Eptone Records and Midwest Soul Music, which is me and Tony. So it's all us reuniting back together again and putting, all this experience and that we've had with each other through our youth up to now and bringing great music, which which that turned into Stepping Out.
Uh, and then, like I say, the actual single "Would Never Want to Let You Go," that was just the perfect song to actually bring the EP to life. So, for my
Yeah.
last question to ask you is, what does the word success mean to you?
Success to me means um pure happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever your goals are, whether they short-term goals or long goals, as long as you're making everybody happy around you, that's success to me. You know what I'm saying? Loving what you're doing, having gratitude to God for what you're doing. If you wake up every day with your health and strength and you have gratitude towards towards everything that you do, um, you know, and you love what you do, that's a successful life to me.
Appreciate you. All right, then, Mechalie, I thank you for your time. Is there anything else you want to add or we close it out with?
Um, get that Mechalie Jamison stepping out on all platforms. That's Mechalie Jamison, Mechalie Jamison, stepping out. And man, it was a pleasure, man. I thank you for inviting me to your platform. Hope it's not the last time. And man, thank you.
Hey, man, thank you for your time. And Stepping Out is out right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to you
Thank
soon. You have a
thank
good
you
one.
so much.
Yes, sir.
Yes.